Hi there, folks. Welcome to another one of my crypto editions. And this one, I'm going to be talking about how TronBank, Tronix, and Tronix Lite complement each other in the way that they're constructed and the different options that they give you and the different percentages. So, as we can see here directly from TronBank, we are at an amazing 220 million Tron, and it's just an incredible feat in itself financially. I mean, amazing. Who knows where it's going to go from here? Well, money attracts money, and there are a lot of Tron whales out there. So who's to say that more won't be piling in here? I feel fortunate on this one because I got in quite early, about between 10 and 7 days ago. So it's going all right for me on that one. Now, with these ROIs, in comparison to Tronix and Tronix Lite, these ones fit in the middle range, and you'll see why in a minute when I just quickly go over to Tronix and show you what's going on there. Because if you can see on Tronix, or they actually call this Tronix Classic because of the one that came out yesterday, Tronix Lite. Now, if we can look at these packages here, we can see that the interest rates are so much higher than TronBank, but not too high, and more importantly, not over that 10% mark. I think when you have things over the 10% mark, it can cause problems. Although this is a package and it is only limited for 18 days. So the main bit of that pot would go into the forever pot anyway for the main total here. So that's a good option. But however, I can see these two are very good options because look, in just 45 days, you're going to get 265%, 0.5% back. Whereas if you think it can go on for longer, then 3.9 is really good, and it's more than what Bankroll and TronBank are offering. This has only just started and it's approaching 3 million. It's going to be absolutely mental because it's obvious what's going to happen. People on TronBank are going to see this. They're going to see the rates. They're going to see how similar this is to TronBank, and you will eventually get whales jumping in on this. And instead of seeing it go up by the hundreds of thousands, we'll see it go up by the millions just because the rates are so good and the layout is very similar to TronBank. So yeah, that's something to consider there. And then yesterday I did a live stream. So I did a video, sorry, and it kind of like turned out to be like a live stream because I literally just stumbled on this in the tab section. And this is Tronix Lite ROI. Again, it's a fully automated, decentralized Tron funding system. And when I got into this, it was like 33 Tron in it. So I put in a couple of hundreds and just went from there basically. But yeah, this one is actually, this is funny because this is actually offering worse rates than TronBank. And on the other side of things, you can see the reason it's offering worse rates and they are much lower is that you can see straight away it's giving you options, but it's basically saying, look, these are lower options here. Basically, this is about time. This to me tells me this is geared up for the long term. And once people find out about this, there'll be quite a few extra digits going on that figure there, I can tell you. And yeah, it's just a question of people finding out about it, but it's straightforward. You can verify the contracts and see that it's the real deal. So basically, these contracts are made for a number of reasons to help people pool their funds. As we know, more money attracts more money. When people see a nice balance they put in, we can see that with what's gone on with TronBank. It's literally got to a stage now where it just keeps on growing so much more exponentially every day. And at the beginning, I remember when it was just a few million and it was just, early days, and no one could have imagined what's happened to TronBank in the last few weeks. And I really do believe it's going to be the same with Tronix Classic and Tronix Lite. I think once people catch on to these two, then it'll be the same thing. Well, to be honest with you, it already has been with Tronix, in the fact that this has only been going less than 48 hours and it's already amassed nearly 3 million. But it just takes a few whales to get in there and start turning it in the tens and 20s of million. When it goes into the 50s and hundreds, that's when people start turning around and going, hey, what's going on there? You know, and it's going to happen. It happened to TronBank, it's going to happen to Tronix, and it will happen even more so to Tronix Lite, because people at first will be like, oh yeah, no. And this is what's happening. People are first looking at Tronix Classic and going, yeah, brilliant, I'm in on that one. And then they're looking at Tronix Lite and they're going, oh, well, these aren't so good. I'll have to think about that. Those interest rates are really low. And then hopefully people will realise what I'm realising, that the reason these are low is because they really do want longevity out of this. And really with these ROIs, a lot of the factors is not just the actual how much is in the contract balance, but how much time do you think it will go on for. That's why the TronBank's done so well, because people don't really know. People are speculating, and so it gives people the option. If they think, oh, it might just only last 20 days, so they go for the 18-day option. Or they might think, oh no, this could go for a couple of months, so I'll go for the 45. And then people that go in for the forever, they're optimistic. They're basically thinking, yeah, this could go for a few months, so I could at least double or triple my ROI. You know, and if it does recover, then it's a bonus on top of that. But the way I'm working these Dapps is basically the primarily thing that I'm doing with all of them is pulling out as much as I can get to my initial investment. And then once I've got the initial investment, depending on the size of the contract and how the actual platform's built and how the actual smart contract's been designed, then I'll work out a strategy of either reinvesting or just keep withdrawing if I can see that the contract balance is going down. But for example, you know, with TronBank, I think pretty much by the time I get my money back, the contract price of balance value will be still, maybe probably in the late hundreds of millions or billions, but I reckon it'll be at a high price before I get my initial investment back. And then depending on how high it is or whether it has fallen since then I work out a strategy of maybe doing, if it's really good, for example, I might do 1 or 2 months straight compound reinvesting every day, building out my daily payouts, and then after a couple of months just sitting back and enjoying those daily payouts and basically enjoying that earned passive income. And that's the aim with these ones. And this is why I love TronBank at the moment, because that total is massive. And the higher that total goes, the longer it will take for it to come down, giving you more days for the contract to live its life out. Because obviously, as we know, as soon as these totals hit zero, that is the end of it. Because what is happening is once it's hit zero, even if people put loads of money in, the amount of payouts that have been accumulated at that time have gone over. So when the money does go in the contract, the odd person might see it and just do a quick checkout, you know, who's a whale or someone's putting a lot of money. So yeah, they can go down quickly as well. But I think personally, this is what I'm doing. I'm putting a lot of my funds in TronBank. To be honest with you, I put a little bit more percentage of my funds in Tronix, just because it's at early stages, and I know it can be around this figure in a month or two, if not less time, once the word gets around. But yeah, these three are perfect complementaries for each other: TronBank, Tronix, and Tronix Lite, in my opinion. So that's basically what this video was about. Just saying that if you work your percentages of investments right, of your folio into these three contracts, I personally think for different reasons you're going to do really well. And if you can try and do as many of these packages as possible from all three platforms, you're going to have such a rich choice. And obviously you don't bet the bank on this. Do you know what I mean? You just bet money. You bet Tron. You put Tron on this. You invest Tron on this with half the foresight of this could drain through irresponsible investors. It's happened on a few short-term ones, but I realised on those ones that drained before, With regards to Rocket ROI and Turbo ROI, their percentages were just too high. You know, the 24-hour 100% and the 1 hour 100%, it was ridiculous. But this space is all about experimentation, and we could see that they weren't Ponzi schemes. It was an experiment on the developer side and on the investor side. But as the time goes on, we're left with these forerunners, these really good ones, and I do believe TronBank, Tronix, and Tronix Lite will be here for quite some time, and want some of the better smart contracts ROIs out there. So yeah, I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Any questions, suggestions? Please like and subscribe. There will be a referral link for these 3 platforms in the descriptions and in the comments. And yeah, thanks very much for your time. Cheers. Bye.